students are gone, but you are still here. And we know how you feel because you are done. But you have so much work to do to get ready for tomorrow. Good afternoon, podcast listeners everywhere. Welcome to After the Bell, a Stunt Brothers production. A podcast that gets inside the life of a teacher and provides a wellness guide for being prepared to take on this most challenging of professions. I'm Martin Stuvel.
And I'm Roy Hunt. And we share your pain, having taught a combined 70 years. The guarantee of this podcast is to make you laugh, make you think, and give you at least one little nugget that you can use in the classroom. So get out your marking, organize your supplies, or just pour yourself a coffee.
I want something stronger.
And listen, engage, and interact with After the Bell, a podcast for you, the hard-working, dedicated teacher who wants free lesson plans, free advice, and a free meal.
Okay, Roy, but I'm not paying for anything more than McDonald's. So I'm pressing record.
Press record.
I've pressed record. We're on.
All right, we're on?
We're on. This is episode 7 of the summer sessions.
Excellent.
It's summer session 7. It's like episode 26 or 7. I can't keep track.
All right.
We're just in summer mode, and we are here having a good time in this wonderful, perfect temperature of Vancouver right now.
Yes, it's partially cloudy, but warm. And
Today's weather report is brought
a little
to you
bit
by
of
Mr.
breeze, light humidity, and
the rest of the world is probably pretty envious.
Yes, I know in Ontario right now it's incredibly hot and humid.
You look at European temperatures right now, big parts of the U.S. I mean, they're hitting 100 plus in terms of Fahrenheit, and it's dangerous temperature. But here we've had this perfect, just 20 to 25 kind of range with a little bit of an ocean breeze coming in.
Yeah. Very
and
nice.
Luckily, the ocean is not swelling too big because there was an 8.8 earthquake yesterday. Did you hear about that?
In Russia.
Yeah. And there was a tsunami alert for all of the coast of BC, Haida Gwaii, all the way down to Hawaii and even parts of Chile, I think.
I read that.
Coast, right?
I read about that, yeah.
And it sounds like the waves weren't too big once it hit the ground, but they said it's the 6th largest earthquake in recorded history. Yeah.
Wow, I had no idea.
In modern history.
That magnitude.
Yeah, it was massive. It was massive. Yet it was not near any kind of population centers. Mm-hmm. So a couple injuries maybe, but nothing too dramatic. Mm. Luckily, no big waves on these calm summer days that we're having.
Yeah. Well, speaking of tsunami, we really are waiting for that tsunami of listeners to come.
Yeah.
I think people are relaxing. I'm happy that people are relaxing over the summer.
We wanted
maybe
them just to chill. And,
just avoiding technology so they're not listening to podcasts.
They're off doing things, and they may discover it later. But we just had one listener in India listened to 3 episodes, so I always enjoy looking at the stats and seeing someone from a different part of the world. And it's neat to have someone in India, and also Singapore, we had a couple, and France. France were some of the current stats.
Yes, it's either that or those are teachers from North Vancouver who are vacationing.
Yeah, that I do know in certain places. I can tell this, when you get one in Italy, one in France, one in England. Oh, well, I know. Oh, that's Susan, and she's traveling to Europe.
Yes. Oh, 2 more people in Japan. Oh, they're from North Vancouver.
How you doing, though? How you doing on these lovely, lovely summer days?
I am doing well. I'm enjoying this weather to be able to get out on my bike and cycle. And I've been out on a paddleboard a few times and really enjoying just jumping in the water. And, the ocean surprisingly isn't as cold as I thought it would be this time of year.
You celebrated a birthday, and I think you celebrated it with a swim, didn't you?
I did. Yeah. I went for Mick Jagger and I celebrate birthdays on the same day. And so I went for a hike, and my dog and I went into the river for a cold plunge, and then my family took me out for dinner, which was wonderful. And
were you satisfied?
I was, because, you
And
know...
Mick is full of rubbish then. You can't get no satisfaction. Roy, you need to talk to Mick, right?
Yes.
Clearly
It's only rock and roll to me.
Yes.
But, which is not a Rolling Stone song.
No, it's not.
No.
But it should be.
Yeah. But the big thing is just spending time with family. I think the whole idea of getting together when everybody's busy, because we often,
it's hard to
as
fit that
families
all
do,
in,
they
right?
all go in their
Everyone's-
opposite
especially
directions.
when the kids get older, right? Yeah.
But finding a time to pull everyone together, usually a birthday or a holiday, and then that's when you find the times to just reconnect and reminisce.
Yeah. And I find maybe it's because of these summer sessions, which in many ways they're nostalgic reflections that we've been having, whether it's the music, whether it's moments in our lives, things we did with our kids. So it has been that kind of self-reflection time, and my mind has been going to it a lot. So that's why today we jumped on our bikes and we retraced our roots of when we first met, right?
That's right.
And the place where we taught. And Dorothy Lynas in North Vancouver, which is in the shadow of Mount Seymour, one of the North Shore Mountains. And we are sitting here right now on a picnic table by the tennis courts looking at Dorothy Lynas, right? And we, in fact, met and we cycled like we did in the olden days up the Parkway. You would come over from Vancouver over to Second Narrows. I would go down Keith and we'd go up the Parkway. It was a little different.
It was a little different today. I mean, when you think about it, it was amazing that, you know, rain or shine, that we would cycle. I think each one of us were traveling about 15 kilometers in one way.
Yeah.
And we had you had a hill, Keith Road.
We would have the Parkway going up, and then I'd have Keith Road going
Keith
back.
Road there, and I had the Second Narrows
Right.
Bridge
Yes,
to go over. But we managed to do that every day, almost every day.
Rain or shine.
Rain or shine.
Some
and,
bad Vancouver weather. We still did it.
And then we even managed to get to the gym 2 to 3 times a week.
I know. And look after our kids when we go
and
home.
And go home. Yeah.
And make dinner and do all that.
And do all of those things.
It's funny because I just saw Superman the other day, but really, I mean, we were Superman.
Yes. Well, we were part of a super team.
We were.
Yes, we were.
Yeah. And it's funny, I guess because we're doing this, and then we always meet for a coffee to kind of talk through the episode. And we saw a teacher named Archie McKinnon. Many of you listeners will know Archie. He's retired, and he happened to walk right by us. We called him over, and he's always been a big sport guy, big volleyball player.
Big volleyball player.
He was a vice principal in North Vancouver for many years, and we had a lovely chat with Archie, and he's doing well and looking younger than ever, I think.
Yes.
And he's been retired for quite a few years.
Yeah, it was good to see him. And good to, I mean, we are starting after I would say it's not really our summer holidays because we're retired.
Yeah, but it still is.
But it still is. I like to think of it as my summer holidays.
Yeah.
But we will be starting our second year of retirement. And when you see the enthusiasm and the energy that Archie has, you're like, wow.
Yeah.
I could see doing this for a number of years.
Absolutely. Yeah, no. And I think it's also because of these reflections and these moments we've been having in this podcast that I've been reflecting on my childhood and going to school at Ridgeway, and that teacher that I've talked about, Christine Miller, who was my grade 4 and 5 teacher, that just yesterday I started to get a Facebook group going, and we're going to have a bit of a reunion from those that went to those who were in her class in 1975, 1976, and we're going to get together with Christine, who I've stayed in touch all these years, and people are pretty excited. She's pretty excited about this opportunity to hear from people that were in her class who will be able to tell her, I can tell you over and over again, the impact that she had on their lives. And this is, 50 years later.
Wow.
She was this ray of sunshine, and her ideas were just, to me, were the kind of ideas that we took on in the 90s. She was the new teacher that brought this ray of sunshine into Ridgeway, which was really filled with teachers who had probably started teaching there in 1950s, right, by that point. And she just had this really hands-on way of understanding the kids and being creative that I can tell by the comments even last night. she had a huge impact on everyone. So it's going to be so special in September, maybe, or October soon, to get together and have a reunion with Christine Miller and all these fellow students. And maybe we'll get a few comments on and maybe have a little bit of a after the bell episode about that.
Well, that's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
I don't have anything as in connection with a teacher like that, but I do have in St. Thomas, where I visit my family. Every time I head into St. Thomas, I make sure there's a few people I like to keep in contact with. One of my friends, Richard Auckland, you usually tell him I'm in town. And one of the things that I love what he does is he contacts our friend base, all the people that we hung out with when we were 19 and 20 years old. And he calls them, and he always arranges a breakfast.
Okay.
And so we will go to a breakfast place in St. Thomas. And at any given time, there are 8, maybe 12 or more people who show up and just say hi, and we catch up. It's funny because when we first used to hang out, we would talk about, music we like to listen to,
right.
What sports teams that we liked. And then later on, as we went into university, then we started talking about weird things like saving money.
Of course,
and,
it changes, right?
Mutual funds.
Right.
And so, can you believe we're talking about this? And then this last one, we were comparing. Well, I've had hip surgery.
Talking about
I've had
your health,
2 guys who are looking at having knee replacements and talking about grandchildren. I go, oh my gosh!
I remember being younger and listening to old people go on about their health, and you go, "What is up with them?" But you realize that's what you talk about.
But it is amazing when you see the people in front of you. And then you think about the history that you have, and you can picture them being, young and full of, the world full of opportunity,
right.
and now there's a different.
It's still in there, right?
Slant is still there,
yeah. Like Archie, you could see it in there, right?
Yes.
He's someone that has always had an excitement for life, and you see it still there. And I think it's important if you had that in your life. You just. Getting older doesn't mean you lose that spark.
That's right.
But when you said Richard Auckland, so his last name's Auckland?
Yes.
So I'll tell you a little confession. I knew you had a friend that listened to the podcast, and I believe he listens to the podcast because he's a follower.
Yes.
Did he not go to New Zealand?
Yes, he did.
So I assumed when I saw Richard Auckland that he had made up a name for himself, the last name Auckland because of Auckland in New Zealand. So is that just a coincidence?
That's just a coincidence. In fact, one of the things on his Facebook group, he kept them mentioning, the Aucklands, he and Karen, the Aucklands in Auckland.
Yeah.
And so he used that. I don't know if you'd call it exactly a pun, but he used it.
It's the word itself, yeah.
He played on it
very,
very much. So it was Auckland in Auckland.
So, Roy, when you look up at Dorothy Lynas here, what are your thoughts when you sit here and think of that time and that time in your life, reflecting on those moments and those years you were here teaching? Does anything come to mind?
Well, I think as it was my first full-time job in North Vancouver. I was a TOC up until the time I took on the position.
Yeah.
I would say in my teaching career, I don't think I've ever had a staff or a group of people that I've ever felt so connected with.
I know, it's true.
There was a level of professionalism that I don't think I've ever experienced.
From the administration on down, everyone, even the EA staff, the custodial staff, it just clicked and was so powerful. And I don't think you could recreate it. I think that's why we've talked about, years later when we thought about, let's teach together and gone out of school. But we were trying to recreate that moment, I think.
Yes.
That it was just, we were all a very similar age and our kids were a similar age, and it just was something that just was the perfect coming together of the universe at that moment.
It was just, like you say, a number of things coming together and making like the perfect mixture. If it was the perfect, if you're cooking, the ingredients were fantastic, and it was just you'd be hard pressed to find another time where you could get that exact combination again.
Because they were magical, some of those ingredients. So what were they, right? How could you recreate that recipe when you don't really know what you put in to make this happen?
That's right.
And that's why, I talk about the reunion I want to have with my grade 4 and 5 teacher, Christine. But I would love to get the Dorothy Lynas people together, and we can watch that video we made for Bev Parcel. We talked about the Survivor video when he retired. And I just think it'd be a wonderful time to get together and reflect and reminisce. And it's, like I say, to me, the summer of 2025 has been about reflection and me going back to that time in my mind. And I don't know what came first. Is it just I'm thinking that, and that's why our summer sessions have tended to go there? Or is it because of our summer sessions, right? That we've kind of reflected on many things. And that's why sitting here in the face of this school and just remembering those moments. And, it was hard work. Our kids were young, right?
Yes.
But there's no school I do get the feeling in terms of, that was the greatest teaching period of time was when I was at Dorothy Lynas. It really was.
Well, and it's funny, you call it hard work, but it didn't feel like
no, I know.
work. And I think it's a hard thing if you were to look at the amount of time you spent at the school and the amount of time that you put in energy you put into everything, it didn't feel like work. Yeah. But if you were to look at it from just a pure sort of time versus the amount of money you were getting,
minimum wage, right?
or less,
yeah.
But it didn't seem to matter, and and I think those people who are really involved in education and truly feel that inspiration and truly feel that connection with staff and students, that there is no money value that you can really put on it.
And even Archie talked about that today, about how wonderful it is to be able to work with kids, right, and have that inspiration from them. That I don't know, like I've said before, if you're in another job and you get that personal return that you do from working with students and children. And we had administration too that just supported us. We got to have ideas and try things, and they supported us 100%. They did their job. They did it very effectively, but they knew their job was to make their teachers effective by allowing them to go and grow. And even things like, I remember, and I won't mention the administrator's name, but I remember we were having, the fire inspector would do an inspection once a year. And I had a classroom that had a lot of paper, a lot of things. I think I had a rainforest in my class or something, and so I had all these things. And this administrator knew that the inspector was coming around, knew that they weren't actually going to open up doors. They were just going to look through. There was a window at each room. And he said, Martin, just let's put some paper over your window so they can't see it. You don't have to take the paper down. I know, because I think I was going to be taking it down within a week, right?
Yeah.
So he just knew that was his way of supporting me, and it worked. I put some paper, and they didn't notice. I had far more than the 20% of the wall space was allowed to be paper, I believe. I'm sure I was into the 80% or something. But it's little things like that the willingness to go into the gray in a way that doesn't hamper safety, really, doesn't hamper the education that's happening in the class, but an understanding that to do this job, sometimes you got to go in the gray a little bit. When everything's black and white, I couldn't do the job, because sometimes, you just want to take a chance and try this. And if you're so worried about being disciplined, and of course there are things that call for discipline, so I'm not saying
there are rules.
But if you're so worried about watching your back all the time, you won't think outside the box. You won't try to do something that maybe you'll fail at, and it's not going to be the end of the world. If you're a good professional, you'll fail, and then you'll learn from that. So those are the feelings I have sitting here at Dorothy Lynas on this beautiful day. And I think people should get out and enjoy their day and call it a wrap there.
Or wrap it up.
Wrap it up, and I don't want to spend too much time sitting here. I want to head off and let's move. Let's get some exercise, get back on those bikes, and enjoy the day.
I agree.
This podcast is organic, taking shape with each episode. Building resiliency for teachers everywhere.
That sounds great.
And our website is stuntbrothers.ca.
That's stuntbrothers.ca.
We will chat again
after the bell.